Yo, Kaz, what's up?
I like that song. Hey, what's going on?
Good.
You doing well?
Yeah. So we were talking about coins as we were getting into the show.
Coins.
We're running little.
John's got his own little mint going on there with all his collectible coins. What
I buy them if I can.
You
So
buy them if you can. Well, that's cool. I've known several people who collected coins. What's going on? I'm going to New York next month for my brother's screening of the film documentary that he did on the Irish and African communities. So I'm
cool.
excited about that.
Right on.
Yeah, and what's happening for you? You're feeling better, which is
Yeah.
great.
Feeling much better. I mean, we're still weeks away from full recovery.
Yeah.
Still limited on some of the things I can do. I can't drive
Mhm.
right
Oh,
now.
really? That's weeks.
Well, they're afraid that a lodge may go happen. I don't know. Long
And
story. And I
then
wanted to get a massage this weekend, a deep massage. That's a no. I didn't realize
no,
it.
because something could get
Yep.
loose.
So I've today I broke a major. So we're working on the family tree, and we broke some
Ah,
major stuff there, which is helping with the documentary of the whole and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of neat. And I think we got more information, so we're going to try to see if we come up with another show soon. Uh,
wow, you are a busy, busy man. Yeah, you said you found lineage back to the 1700s.
yeah, but I think it
Yeah,
goes even further behind. I think we go back to
I'm
the
sure
Roman.
it does.
I think we go back to the Roman times.
Well, you'd have me beat. I found all the way back to Battle of Hastings at 1066, so that would
I,
really have me beaten.
I did find Ronaldo back in the Roman times.
Oh my
Yeah, but
gosh.
I can't. I have to. We have to go through the lineage, and I have a lot of people that I know that are Ronaldo. So now I got a tree going. Now we're going to start migrating all that stuff together, integrate all those families together. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, that's that. And
I find
then
that fascinating. I think finding out about your heritage and where your people came from is fascinating.
but I do want to touch a major topic that I don't think a lot of writers on Substack understand. And I think it needs to be spoken. And I think might be a good opportunity to talk about this.
I know what you're going to say. Carry on.
So when it comes down to people recreating your profile or using your content of any kind, um, that's copyright infringement,
Yep.
big time. And you make sure you put that in your notes, even though Substack says it's copyright infringement if anybody copies and all that. But the legal thing, what you should do is actually put that as a disclaimer in the bottom. It's very simple, it's easy. And because I had a person who that I knew, unfortunately, and was being malicious in his attempt to contact my subscribers and try to solicit them for whatever reason. And I'm not 100% sure what he was doing.
It was
Maybe
nefarious
it was
nonetheless.
nefarious, either spreading rumors or doing whatever. But he wanted to go from the Substack to on WhatsApp for some reason, and that would have taken you in a different direction. Um, and that wasn't good for anybody. And for those audience members, I'm going to let you know, I I do have someone I'm with, my wife. So I'm saying this in a way that I don't solicit people. I don't tell people that I'm interested in them at all because that doesn't work in my
You're in
world.
a committed
Relationship.
relationship.
I'm a family man,
Yep. Yes.
and I'm devoted family man. That's what I want to be. That's what am. And so just let you guys know that if you guys are watching this and you guys are wondering why John Ronaldo is popping up everywhere, there's no John Ronaldo. There's two accounts. There is this John Ronaldo, which is basically I use as an author, and there's another site called the Positive Pen, and that's also another John Ronaldo. So one you'll see with a cowboy hat, and the other one you see me with the baseball cap next to a river, something like that. That was in Connecticut. but those two are the only accounts I have. I don't do anything else.
Yeah.
FYI, I'm going to let you know that my attorneys are sending a letter to that individual, and because he infringed on the copyrights. So just
And it's yours is for this is at J Ronaldo. So
right,
if anybody solicits people with John Ronaldo spelled out or incorrectly or whatever, trying to
impersonate me or try
impersonate
to,
you,
and it's extortion, it's coercion, it's just stupid shit. Excuse my
it's
language.
bullying. It's
Yeah.
bullying. Now you can use any language you
So
like.
so
Yeah.
that
So
I would just want to put that out there for everybody, and I want to make that public because some people think that they could use, and I mean that with everybody. I mean, you got AI. Use AI if you're lost with words. That's you
well,
know,
and
and
this
and
doesn't just happen here. It happens. I mean, I have a woman who I really like on another platform, and I follow her, and we chat occasionally, and she has completely been duplicated and impersonated, and they just did her name backwards, and she reported it. I reported it, and it came back saying, "No, it's okay." I said, "What?" The
yeah,
platform said, "No, it's okay." And the woman is just she took a long time to build her audience and with her message, and now this other person is just, stealing plagiarizing her, stealing it, and it's scary. And when you get bigger, that's the thing. When you start getting more and more recognition and acknowledgement, I have several people I know who have accounts in the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and they've told me they've had the same experience. But luckily, the person was so sloppy at it that they were reported and gotten rid of. But
yeah.
social media babies out there, it's social media. Take care,
Yeah,
be
so if
careful.
so again, for those who want to protect their content, one of the things you want to do is just say copyright underneath whatever your name is.
Use the symbol.
Use a symbol. And what I've done was on my name, as I use a C, and I used, so you see C's all over my stuff. It's repetitive, but I'm making a point, more or
Yep,
less. So, anyways,
absolutely. Anyway,
I want to take that out of I just want to get that out of there, so everybody, and I want to make that announcement. So if anybody who's sitting there thinking I'm going to copy that person's, no, trust me, I will report you to the FBI. I will make a case out of it, and my attorney will send you a letter. Just,
got it. Got it.
I'm not joking around. So, yeah, I hate to be
That
the
being said,
I hate to be the a-hole, but
that's not. You're just protecting your work, and
yeah,
you wrote it, you designed it, produced it, and you need to protect
right.
your work.
So,
Anything you do.
let's move on. I don't want
Let's
to get into
carry
I don't want to
on.
get into that tangent anymore. It's been a fun 50 days of the year. So let's introduce our guest.
Our guest. Everybody says, "Oh, our guest is one of my dearest friends, and I've known them forever." Well, for me, it's absolutely positively true. Josie DiVincenzo is an incredible talent in many areas. She's an amazing actor on in film and television, on the stage, you name it. She's an amazing director. She actually directed me in a show when we were younger, and it won a it won a festival. She'll remember what it was. But anyway, she has been in some of the most high profile series. She has she's taken the stage by storm when she went back home to Buffalo, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, she's a scenic painter. She's
I
an
think
artistic
she's
painter. As a matter of fact, when my son was born, she painted this incredible rocking chair for him, and he still has it. So I think she knows that. But yeah, we got to just get her on because she's just the bomb. Josie DiVincenzo.
Oh God.
how about that for an intro?
Woo!
Wow. Thank you. That's crazy, crazy, crazy great. advocacy. I love you so much, Kaz. Thank you.
I love
John,
you too,
so good
baby.
to see you again.
Thank you.
What a fun time, and thank you so much for having me here.
You're welcome.
We're glad to have you. Well, I love the whole bloom where you're planted thing. You said it's on your website, and John picked up on that. And you are the epitome of blooming where you're planted. You started in Buffalo, and we both went to SUNY school together. That's how we met.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And where we worked together and studied together. And then after undergrad, you went to
United University of Southern California, USC. Yeah.
And you got your master's
I
there?
got my master's in drama. Yeah. It's funny. I was listening to the intro and I'm like, who the hell are they talking about? Truly, here I am, chubby little Italian from the north side of Buffalo, New York, and always wanted to be an actor since I was 4 years old. And I walked around the house, ta-da! And my mom and dad were like, who is she? Where is she from? And then one day my mother decided to share with me that, okay, so my sister and brother are 5 and 6 years older than me. And I came, 5 years later, 6 years later. And it was their second honeymoon and they went to New York City. Yes. And they stayed in a hotel in Times Square. So my mother told me she believed at one point, once I got all involved in theater and everything, that I might have been a ghost from the third district in New York City. I came back in like, hey, I'm ready to go again. Like ta-da. I mean, our family, nobody performed. We had different people who played like the guitar and a few musicians here and there, but we absolutely did not come from a family of performers or theater people or anything like that, So it really was since I was a tyke, since I was a little kid, And then, yeah, man, I did all the high school plays.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to go to Fredonia, SUNY Fredonia, because they were and they still are well known for their training program. And 1,000 years later, I ended up teaching there for 3 semesters recently.
Amazing.
And there, Kaz was incredible. I directed you in Electra.
Yes, you did.
And you were amazing.
Did you win director or did we
So
win?
we won. We went to the New York State Theater Festival.
Right.
And that was down near Jamestown. And it incorporated both university and different theaters across New York State.
Right.
And I did. I won. I was 20 and I won Best Director, but they tied me with an older guy because I think they were like, well, we can't give it to a 20-year-old.
Give her a 20-year-old.
But you and Simon Brooking, you played Electra, the title role. You were amazing. It was an amazing show. Anyway, so we won Best Director and Best Backstage Production because for those state theater festivals, you had to be able to put together, assemble your set within 15 minutes and strike it, meaning dismantle it within 15 minutes. So we had a guy named Don Kushner. You remember him?
Of course.
The TD, the technical director, and it was his building of it that made it sure that they could they hinged it together and were able to put it up and put it down. It was this whole structure of like stairs and platforms. It was pretty cool.
It was like raw wood. It was kind of raw wood and very, very unfinished.
Yeah, right. It was very, very rough hewn, very rustic. John, you should have seen Kaz in her glory days, man. She was still is in amazing shape. So
he gave us a taste of it every week.
I mean, I went from Buffalo, and what was funny is even though I was in a 4-year program at Fredonia for theater, and theater was my main thing, I wanted to go to New York, but something happened where I auditioned for a bunch of universities, and I got in a few, and then USC accepted me, and for something changed. I was like, you know what? I would love to do film and TV. Like that would be amazing. And USC had a theater training program, but yet you'd be in LA. I was in Los Angeles.
Right.
So I went out there thinking I could do both. And I'm a cockeyed optimist. I don't believe in don't believe in the, I believe in the you never know. I've been living my whole life on the what if factor, the you never know factor. Hasn't been easy at all. But when I went
And
out
you
there,
went to USC, you had no place to live.
oh no, I had, I didn't tell my parents that I had not been given a dorm yet, or it was actually graduate school housing. I didn't get one yet, but I got on the train. And when I got to LA, I stayed with some friends and I called the next day and I said, hi, it's Josie DiVincenzo. I'm calling to see, where you're placing me. And they said, oh, hang on a minute. You're 205 Harriman Hall. And I was like, I threw it.
You just trusted.
The old gods and the new, the appropriate. I just went, this is going to happen. Now, it may not have been smart, but I trusted it. And I had $800 in my pocket. That was it. And
That's
I got
amazing. So you got your master's degree.
I did.
In theater?
In drama. Theater arts. Drama concentration. Yeah.
Right. And you stayed in LA. You didn't go back to the East Coast. And then things started happening for you.
Yeah. Like I kept doing theater in LA. And I did.
Yeah.
Look, one of the first theaters I worked in, we just wanted to put up this show. And it was formulated by a guy named JD Roberto, who's really successful right now. You know JD.
Yes, of course.
He started a company called Hard Hat Theater Company, and it was a bunch of us from Buffalo and Detroit and all these places that are known for the blue collars. So it was Hard Hat, right? Hard Hat Theater Company. And we started doing all these really cool things like readings in Barnes and Noble of Dr. Seuss and Shakespeare and like all these things. And we decided to rent a theater and do original plays. And they were really well written. JD was the primary writer. I mean, if he ever sees this, he's going to die that I'm bringing this up. This theater was in Theater Row on Santa Monica Boulevard. Anybody listening to this who knows this area, back in the day, the theater we were in, you could literally lean on and you'd go through the wall. I mean, it was bad. It was
garbage.
Yeah. So we started paper macheing and masking taping and pasting over and painting it black. It was just, the joke was don't lean on the wall. Just don't lean on the wall. And I started there, and then I would audition like crazy, and I started doing a lot of theater. LA has a lot of great theater. It's a lot of people who are trained from all these other cities in the United States. I don't care, Florida to Chicago to wherever. And we come out there because we do want to do film and TV, but the thing that serves our soul and that feeds our artistry is theater. I mean, you learn a tremendous amount about technique and creating character and,
sustaining a character for more than one take.
Right. You have to sustain it. You got to thread the thread. You got to thread the needle through the whole, and, script analysis and all that, so that when you get on set for TV or film, your training just absolutely bounces in. And so I ended up doing a lot of that. And one thing led to another, and manager, who I was with for many years, Melanie Sharp, she was a junior agent at the time. She came to see me in a play. I mean, you got to get yourself out there.
Yes, you've got to put yourself out there. That's exactly right.
They say that, from what I understand in theater or from actors, a lot of actors go into television and TV and all that kind of stuff, or movies, and they stay there for years, and they try to go from that type of media to theater, and there's a whole learning curve behind that.
Yeah,
it's because of the prompt, like the improv type things, and especially on theater, because I do watch a lot of theater.
Yeah,
you can tell that they're improvising when something happens, and trying to muddle through, just kind of like say words that don't belong to the script, and they just do that because they just need to get to the next scene.
Yeah.
So in your experience, is it easier to go from theater to that type of media, or is it true that is when you see that transition, trying people to get into theater, they just bomb?
We were just talking about this morning. I was at this amazing brunch with some of the best theater artists in Buffalo, actors, directors, all women. And we were talking about that, where in my experience, because I've had the wonderful fortune of doing both at the same time, the theater training is what's going to save you in film and TV. If you're only doing film and TV and then you need to transition to theater, I have heard from friends of mine who do film and TV first, how difficult, and the ones who work hard get there. But a lot of them are sort of shocked into the fact that there's a lot more lines to memorize. You can't stop, take it again. You can't go back. You know, you've got to start at scene one, act one, scene one, and go through and this and that. The brain is not used to carrying that long, sustaining character and story. Where if you do theater first, you learn that it's in your blood, it's in your veins. And what happened with me is I did so much theater first that when I got into film and TV, I was able to sustain the story and where we're going, but it was much easier to memorize because it's a page or two at a time. Even if you have a really big role in film or TV, you still don't have as much to memorize and work on and have to sustain. There's cutting, there's taking it again, there's moving locations. You know, it's a whole different animal. But the theater training absolutely made me what I think made me a better film and TV actor. Mm-hmm. And doing film and TV made me a better theater actor, because then when I go back to theater, the nuances and the little things you learn in front of the camera feed into the nuances you can bring to theater. Where if you're only doing theater, you may not learn those little nuances because you don't learn how to trust small things. I hope I'm making sense.
No, you do. Because I see that with comedians. Because like if you look at comedians that go on Saturday Night Live, not all of them make it because they just don't have that memory recall, because their script, they have a heavy, comedy is a heavy script when you're doing a stand-up. You're going through and you're trying to hit that punchline, and you're watching the audience, and there's a lot of things the comedian's trying to do to incite laughter or some type of trigger.
Right.
And Saturday Night Live, when they go to Saturday Night Live, they don't. It's really like a monotone type situation, because now they're just waiting. They're trying to hit it, and they don't. So, but there's a lot of success. I always see successful comedians go from there because they've had a good
training background. Yep.
And then they go into movies and they're doing all those skits, and most of them are improv big time on screen because they just have that, like Will Ferrell is one of them.
Oh,
and your favorite Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
But that's a craft. I look at that as a theater actor as well.
Yeah.
Trying, going on front of TV. And they improv way, way better than
big time. And let me just interject and tell you, improv can also be within the actual words you're supposed to say.
Yes.
You get a script and you stick with those words.
It could be the action. It could be the expression. It could be whatever it is. Yeah.
That's absolutely right. And there's no more fun thing for me to do on stage than discover new stuff in front of an audience, and your scene partner is right there with you, and now you're both in the jam, and now you're both with each other, and you're discovering it together. And the audience may not know the difference from the night before because they weren't there, and you're staying with the script, you're staying with the story. But that's why improv is so important for actors to take improv classes, because improv doesn't mean you go off script. It means that you're discovering all the other things that are around those words. So you're right. You've got people like Jim Carrey, Robin Williams, who was a crazy, zany, stand-up, and what he did with Mork and Mindy, you name it. But this man, when he did drama, tore your heart out because he understood all the other nuances and how to find all those things because of his ability to improv. Yeah, you bring up a great point.
I think it's more of a natural reaction because if you're more like a still type, like Tom Cruise, I don't think he can do theater. That I don't see him doing theater because I can't see him do, because I don't think he has. But he's very systematic in his approach to to
He's
movies.
kind of amazing. Yeah, I love him.
And he does that great because he does it very this. I can't see him do a theater. Not the way he does movies. I don't see that transition there.
Well, he's allowed, but with the movies, if I may, he's allowed to do all these things in these movies that he does. I would love to see him on stage because I feel Tom Cruise goes so deep. I really do. There are people who have their opinions.
Oh yeah,
maybe because he does action
he's
or whatever.
so committed.
Yeah, this guy, exactly. That's what it is. He's so damn committed. I'd love to see him do theater because I think he would succeed in it because of that commitment. I do.
Right.
But there are plenty of film actors who will tell you, man, they respect the whole theater thing. Another thing that's like that is one of my very
he's not done
it. Entertainers on the planet. His name is Alfie Boe. Now it's a long story. I won't get into it, but Alfie Boe, I fell in love with Alfie Boe because he played Jean Valjean in Les Mis at the 25th anniversary. That was back in maybe 2010 or something.
New version?
Sorry?
The newer version?
It wasn't the movie. It was, they did it live.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
At the O in London. The O, huge place. And I was like, who is this man? That was 15 years ago. I was like, oh dear. Wow. Because he was so passionate. And his voice, he's a tenor, but it's this velvet, chocolatey, wonderful voice. And as an actor, he was wonderful. Great. Well, they do it that one night. And it's this huge thing. And it's, Then he ended up getting the role of Jean Valjean in London, where you're talking 8 shows a week. Basically Broadway, it might be, if you're the lead, you might do 6 and the understudy does like the Wednesday matinee and the Saturday matinee, but you'll do 6 to 8 shows a week. Well, he had to take some time off because he, as an opera singer, I should have said he was trained as opera. Opera does like 2 or 3 a month. So very much like a film actor who is used to a few pages or whatever. Sometimes in one day, they'll do 1/8 of a page because filmmaking is a lot too about the pictures, the moving pictures, the scenery, the this, the that, car chases or the horses coming in or whatever. So you're not going to have a ton of dialogue sometimes. But if you're not used to tons of dialogue every single day and keeping that thread, like Alfie wasn't used to this huge musical theater performance every single day, 6 to 8 times a week. It's a very different muscle. It's a very different training for your brain, So these are really 2 different modalities.
Preserving your voice.
That, oh my God, that too. And physically.
Yeah.
Well, Les Mis is one of my favorite ones to watch live.
Les Mis?
Les Mis.
Les Mis.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Isn't it one? It's one of my favorites.
I do like musical stuff with dialogue. When I get really bored if it's just all dialogue because there's no action. ADD moments, I guess. But what part have you done in your life that you loved so much and throughout your entire career? What would be that one thing you wish you could redo it over and over again?
Can I give 2 answers?
Sure. Okay. You're not
the first one, with all my training and all the Shakespeare I've done, man, I'd love to do Lady Macbeth again. I was fortunate enough, little old me from Buffalo, New York. I ended up doing badass roles. It's hilarious. When my family started watching me on TV, like Girls with Guns and hitting people and doing that, they were dying because I grew up being the one who doesn't want to argue. I want everyone to get along. I don't want to. And maybe it's this voice and this strength I don't even know I have. I wish I had the strength that my characters have because I'm like this hostess cupcake, But I was on something called Nash Bridges for those older in the crowd.
Oh, yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Nash Bridges, yeah.
I played an escaped felon the orange jumpsuit.
Perfect. She
It
was
was,
so damn good.
it
She
was
was so
hilarious.
good. And this
I
is
got
coming
to,
from a stunt person to
yeah,
someone. Yeah. I mean,
no,
wow. Yeah.
Kaz is the real deal stunt person. Here I am, okay, you're going to jump out of this van and you're going to shoot a shotgun. And then you're going to, and I was like, and then you're going to drive and then you're going to carjack a soccer mom. I was like, the
That was
great
good.
news is, and that the reason it was that I would love to do more of that
Okay.
because it's just fun. I could talk a lot about, the kind of roles one needs to take responsibility for, somebody with a gun, etc. But this was also entertainment. And I got to jump out of vans. I got to carjack, run in a van and grab, and take off and leave skid marks. And what was really crazy is when I got there, they gave us like a mini course in shooting guns and giving us guns with half load and full load blanks. I got a fake shotgun, and then they did the CGI of like the smoke coming up, and then I actually got a real one, and I got to hit somebody in the face with the butt of my gun with an amazing stunt guy. And I'm like, I'm not a stunt. Like, well, so they gave us like a mini training a couple days before we shot of shooting and jumping and doing this and that. And then this was great. I was given as a stunt double, Debbie Evans, who is a legendary stunt woman who was stunt woman for Linda Hamilton on all of the Terminators.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was like, now back then she had already done it, but she got the job to do the week of, Nash Bridges. And she saw me working with the gun and she said, and I go, I don't know when they're going to have you in. She goes, no, I'm going to tell them, let you do it. You're doing great. Now that was really amazing because egotistically she could have said, hey, my time. That's what I do.
I need to earn my paycheck. So
Right?
yeah,
She's like, no, she's good. Let her go. I was like, you're kidding. Then she had to drive off and do all these things. And when I like stole the prison van, it's so, I mean, please, it's hilarious. But she goes, you can do it. I was like, really? So I got to put light stunt driving on my resume. And then I got another.
And weapons.
Yeah, I got another role with Tom Sizemore, may he rest in peace, for his show that was only on and off one season to do some light stunt driving as the character. I got a guest star and they let me do the driving. So it was things like that where you go into something and you're terrified, but they teach you and you're like so hungry, you'll do it. So I would relive that week. I had a ball. I got to shoot an HK MP5, which were illegal, but they let me. And again, I want to say
with blanks.
Yeah, but blanks can
not real stuff.
No, but the thing is that the wad in a blank can kill you. And Bruce Lee's son was killed with a wad, a blank wad. So they are really, really, really dangerous.
And I was trained for 2 days. It could have been 2 months of what they stuck in there. But what Kaz is talking about is the minute I had to shoot, I mean, we're all ready to go right before action. I've got no gun. The armorer comes up, hands it to you, shows you there's nothing in the chamber, nothing here, nothing there, boo, boo, boo. Here's the safety. I shoot, blanks. And then on the other side, they got a guy shooting glass pellets into the windshield of the car that I was supposed to be shooting at, looking like I'm doing it,
Right.
Not.
Right.
Who's John?
Oh, hang on.
Oh, there you go.
He's gone.
Sorry.
He's back.
It's okay.
He's gone. He's back.
But then the minute you're done, that armorer is right there taking it away from you. Like it was incredibly safe. It was a great, great set. And, I know maybe today's not the day, but I'm aware of all the things that have happened since, including John Eric Hexum, who was years ago. He fooled around with a gun, not knowing that bullet or that blanks can kill you. And then there's, Alec Baldwin and that whole thing. But I'm here to tell you, as an actor who has been given guns, because that wasn't the only one. I've shot guns in a few other things. And the armorers are usually, right before you're shooting, it's in your hand. And the second you're done, it's out. So they were incredibly safe. But that was a lot of fun. And I remember the day when I was shooting, the real shoot 'em up, like the whole thing, we were shooting up the whole street. there were hundreds of people watching. And the first pass that we did, second AD, and they've all got furniture blankets over them and plexiglass to prevent the shells.
Protect them. Mm-hmm.
And the first AD comes up to me and he's like, "Will you marry me?"
Because you didn't cause him any trouble.
So,
Yeah.
But that was fun. Now, if you're going to ask, what would I relive in terms of acting? It's an embarrassment of riches. I've had in theater some really, really wonderful roles.
She's an incredibly accomplished Shakespearean actor, too. And that not every, even theater actor, I did not consider Shakespeare to be one of my strengths at all. I was always comedy and musical comedy. But being a Shakespearean actor is an accomplishment unto itself. So, but you talk about the learning, the whole bloom where you're planted is you talk about you hadn't been handling those particular weapons. So you got the training and you caught on quickly. You bloomed where you were planted. You caught on quickly to using them. And yeah, you're going to have an armor. You're going to have a wrangler. It's the last stunt gig I did. My gun was in a holster and my arms were up. He put it in. We shot the scene. The moment they said cut, it came right out of the holster. Well, actually, I lost the gun because the character in the show grabbed the gun from the police officer I was playing. So, yeah. So, but yeah, they're, in general, on everywhere that I've ever been where a gun has to be handled, I felt really, really safe as the actor, and crew felt safe. The other actors felt safe, which is really, really good. So you did so many well-known shows and you have so many great stories about, we left school and we all scattered. We were talking about this earlier. We all scattered.
Yeah.
We lost touch, as it were.
Yeah.
I was working all over the country, and I ended up training with a casting director. And we were casting a television series, and I had to go pull headshots from the file, and I'm looking through the headshots, and there's your headshot, and I completely flipped out. I called your agent. You finally got the message, put two and two together, and we've pretty much been inseparable since. But I thought that was really funny that, so I wonder where Josie is, and she's probably wondering where the hell I am, because we lived together.
We even shared a house together with three other women. I mean, we were for 4 years. We all loved each other and did a lot of theater and all that stuff.
Yep.
But back in the day, kids, we didn't have, Facebook and email and all that stuff to find each other. So yeah, I get my manager, says, I was like, wait a minute, what? I didn't even know where you were, let alone in LA.
Sometimes I didn't know where I was. So wow. Yeah. I was
okay.
I'm here today and tomorrow.
And there you are.
Yeah, that was amazing. And you're doing all this great. You're doing Desperate Housewives. You're doing 90210. I mean, I was in Canada.
Yeah.
And saw you in Friends.
That's funny. And
so, yeah.
It's so funny because if anyone here is watching, you go, who the hell is she anyway? Well, I am a journeyman actor. I mean, there's a lot of me out there where you don't know our faces or names, but we've had the fortune of doing a lot of co-starring and guest starring and really great, back in the day, primetime shows, or even now, the streaming shows or whatever. And all I knew is that I wanted to do this for the rest of my life. When I went out to LA, I wasn't thinking stardom. I was thinking if I could just keep working, I could pay off my student loans, and I worked at a 9-to-5 job for a lot of that time, but I was lucky. They let me go on auditions, and, I worked really hard to show them that I would make up the hours that I missed and all that. I was in corporate America, for God's sake. I was working at CB Commercial.
Wow.
But, the reason I put Bloom Where You're Planted on my website is because I've been out in LA for quite a while. And, it's a grind and it's hard. And I did have 2 series regulars and both were canceled before you could wink. One of them never made it to air. The other made it to air for 6 episodes and then was canceled. And it was devastating because I was like, I was in my 30s. I'm like, okay, now I won't necessarily have to audition from the ground up anymore. I might get some offers. I might get, but it was canceled too quickly. So I wasn't, getting momentum. And I got a call from my mother, who was a huge Buffalo proponent. Buffalo, oh my God, Buffalo. And big Bills fan, go Bills. And
Go Bills. Go
she
Bills.
said, they're auditioning for Shakespeare in Delaware Park, and they're doing an all-female version of Macbeth. Now I can say that, by the way. I'm not in a theater. You're not supposed to say Macbeth if you're in a theater.
Never.
Never. And I had done, okay, just so you know, real quick, John, Shakespeare in Delaware Park in Buffalo is the second largest free Shakespeare festival in the country, outside of Joe Papp's Shakespeare in the Park in New York City. And we still hold that. The man who...
Just for the audience, when does that air, or when does that start?
Oh, that is...
the season.
It's a season. It's a summer season in Buffalo, New York. It's on a hill that seats about 1,000 people a night.
So fabulous.
Right in front of the lake.
And that's like 5 days a week, 7 days a week?
Yeah, it is. Basically, it's Tuesday through Sunday with Monday nights off. See? You got to do 7 or 6 out of the 7 nights.
6 shows a week.
Yep. And
it's beautiful too, because you can take your family, you can take your dog, you bring a blanket, you bring a picnic, you bring the food, you bring the wine, whatever, and watch really good Shakespeare. I mean,
came with me.
Well produced.
You came.
Yeah, it was really good.
John, what's so great about this is you don't need to understand Shakespeare. If it's a good cast and good director, it's done in a way where you get it. And that audience, come on, you can't get 700 to 1,000 Buffalonians a night that are all Shakespeare scholars. They come with their kids. And I got to tell you, when the sun sets and the lights come up and you're watching this thing and there's a lake behind you, people listen. It's quiet and they get it. And it's so magical. It's so fun. Now, I've been on that stage many times. I'm going to tell you, there are flies, sand flies, the whole thing. But it's still,
honestly, I was thinking about that. I was thinking all the flies and all that.
Oh, yeah. And if you have asthma, the heat, the humidity. Oh, and then there's a casino, not a gambling casino, but they call it a casino. It's this beautiful structure not far where they'll have weddings, and they're supposed to start. We're supposed to be done by 10 because then they're going to start the music. And sometimes we go over and we'll hear, we are family, when like the whole Hamlet family is dying. That happened. It was hilarious. That was crazy. So, I was offered that audition and I was like, I remember the magic when I left in the 80s and here I am. I'd love to come back for a summer. Let's do it. So I sent a tape back when people really weren't sending tapes, but I did it. And I got the role and I came back, and then there's so much happening here. Like I was always of the head of like, you've got to be in LA or New York or you're not making it,
Yeah, which is crazy.
Especially
these days.
And success. Yeah. I mean, with all the social media and all the followers, but
all the streaming, and
I'm learning that success and quote unquote making it for me at least was, I want to do my art and I want to make my living doing it and be around like-minded people who are doing it. And if I was only concerned with being famous, I would have stopped 2-3 decades ago.
So just with that said, I was sorry to interrupt, but
no, do it. Yeah.
I was just thinking about, you talked about New York, you talked about and being in LA and you had to be there. Now, because you're out of that scene per se, well, 2 questions. Do you still go travel to those locations? And also, do you travel to like Canada, like Vancouver, Toronto, to do films and all that? And where is your favorite place to film?
I do not travel to Canada, even though I am literally under 20 minutes from the border, especially where I live. I'm right over the Grand Island Bridge. Grand Island here, and you go right into Niagara Falls, Canada, as you're right there. It's very difficult unless, and this is where I am. I have lost the kind of momentum you want to keep if you're in LA, New York, or Atlanta. That's true. being in Buffalo, being in a smaller city, I'm not hobnobbing and, talking with a lot of people in these different cities and meeting new people and all that like I would if I lived in New York or LA still. Okay. And I know that. I came to make a change in my life, but I still do. Now that I've been here, I have to admit, I'm like, all right, maybe I didn't want to change. Maybe I just wanted, a break. It's like Friends. We were on a break. Maybe I just wanted a break. But Canada is difficult to get in unless you really are a name, because they're very loyal, and I understand this, to their Canadian actors. So it's not that easy to get something across the border. Living right there, 2 minutes from the border, doesn't matter. It's all about, and the visas and the work visas, and are they going to want to pay for you to do that even if they love you? Would they rather get someone who's already Canadian citizen, I am happy to say this summer I did an off-Broadway play in New York. That was fun. That was great.
And who did you do it with?
And the funny part about it is
I could have seen it.
I was cast and directed by the man who wrote it, who was Ted Lange, who you may know from The Love Boat. He was Oscar the bartender.
Oh.
And he and I have been buddies all these years because he directed me in a really great, funny play back in LA. He's a wonderful director and writer. Wonderful playwright. And
he wasn't a great bartender, though.
Say again?
He wasn't a great bartender.
He'll do cameos now. He actually learned how to bartend. He'll do that cameo where you can send someone a happy birthday from a famous person, and he'll give them recipes on drinks. It's really great.
But and Fred Grandy, Jill Whelan. Oh.
And here's the thing: Jill Whelan, Fred Grandy, Count Stovall, Christy Ferris. Oh my God, the names are escaping me. All of these people have had theater training. So when you're with them, we just fell right in step with each other. And that was the thing, is back in the day, you'd see, Love Boat or Murder, She Wrote, and wonder who these people are, the TV actors. No, actually, a lot of them have fantastic training and they're excellent actors. But, doing the TV things because it's the gig and it's the money, and they want to be on TV too. And there's a lot to be said about that, But where would be my favorite place? Anywhere that wants me, anywhere that hires me is my favorite place to film.
There's probably a place where it's not as. I'm sure New York is very challenging to get in and get out and do the scenes due to its complex, things.
Well, so many famous people are doing Broadway, and you're seeing Hugh Jackman on Broadway, and you're seeing all of these very, very famous, what we mostly know as film actors, but actually who do have stage training and theater training, because all these people that came from like London and England and the UK, they were in the theater first. Helen Mirren, all of them, before they went on to doing film, and now some of them doing television. But Broadway is now, there's a lot of competition. Well, because there's more actors, because there's more people on the planet, but there's more competition because it's expensive to produce, and you want butts and seats. You want to fill the seats at the theater every single night. So Hugh Jackman's going to draw. It wasn't like when I was coming up in theater in New York, and I got my first Broadway show when I was 18, but unfortunately it was canceled before I was in the cast. Anyway, you would have people in the chorus, the dancers who didn't even have speaking roles, who worked their way up into having major roles. People haven't heard Wayne Cilento and Anne Reinking. That's how Gwen Verdon started out. All those performers is as a dancer in the chorus. But now, I don't know if it's as easy. Someone told me, yes, they know people, they're working with people, because a member of my family has a partner who's on Broadway right now. And there are people that are moving up, but I don't think it's as prevalent now.
No, you're right about that. And even Carrie Coon, who we may know from many things, The Leftovers and Gilded Age and a bunch of other wonderful things she's done, and she's done a ton of theater. She finally is on Broadway now. And her husband is Tracy Letts, who has written everything on Broadway, and he's done film and TV. And even she said, I finally arrived. And it's because I did the Gilded Age. It's like
on television. Yeah.
I mean, Meanwhile,
On
her
Netflix.
resume is an arm's length of wonderful theater things all around, not Broadway, but all these, you know. And her husband is Tracy Letts, who's this incredible, you know, hugely successful writer and actor. So you're right about that. I feel incredibly fortunate that I ended up off Broadway now at this age. I mean, my camera's fuzzy. I'm older. I'm up there, and
Hey,
but
wait a minute. We're old.
but I really feel that that's why you have to bloom where you are, because if I had thought it was more important to be on Broadway or be on a TV series or only do film or la la la, I would have stopped literally 20, 30 years ago when I saw a lot of my friends dropping off and going, screw this. I can make $100,000 being a real estate portfolio manager at CB Commercial, which is what they were making then, you know. But my heart and soul, this is who I am. Now, am I Pollyanna? No, I get jobs left and right. I was a professor in the SUNY system and the private university system for the past 15 years. You know?
And she's won awards of shows she's done in Buffalo. She's done several one-woman shows that were just spectacular. I mean, your move to Buffalo, you really blossomed as a singular actor.
Well,
You know,
that's the bloom where you're planted. I'm not sure, John, going back to your question, that I would be the actor I am now, that I know to be. And I don't mean, all this reviews and everything. I just mean what I know about me and how I've evolved if I didn't come back to Buffalo and do all this theater. Like now I'm ready for any TV show or film, and I would have been back then, but the layers that you learn through just being able to be a well-oiled artist, to do your art. You know, that's why so many people, I know these young people, they come to me, they coach, and in 4 weeks they want to know how to get an agent and go to LA. And, you know, I'm like,
Well, there is a story behind this that's called Acres of Diamonds, where this man goes out and he has a family and goes out and he's looking for diamonds in Africa, all these places, and down South Africa. He goes on these major adventures, leaves his family behind, this big, huge farm, and you know the farm is decaying. There's not much movement going on, and he goes bankrupt. Like he loses all his fortune by just chasing the diamonds around. Another person bought the land and they're tilling the farm and they discover oil. So it's called Acres of Diamonds, meaning what it means is you may chase all what you want, but maybe you're chasing the wrong area. It's in your backyard, more or less.
wonderful.
really good point.
So when you're
Really
talking
good
about
point.
going back to Buffalo and earning your craft and doing what you're doing, that's a different story. You know, I was raised in Vancouver. I did a little bit of extra work and all that kind of stuff. Like I'll put my stuff out, like 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
And I don't know if everybody knew what's that called, Sunny something. I can't remember. And
It's Always
MacGyver.
Sunny in Philadelphia.
No, it was
Oh.
it was only on for like 6 episodes or a year, and it was canceled. But MacGyver was out there too. So my point
Yeah,
is,
a lot.
if I would have
Everything's done up
stayed
there.
in that craft and not travel Europe, I mean, could have I moved up in that ranks? But I needed to do that there in Vancouver and build my career. Now that wasn't my career I wanted to do, but
Yeah.
looking back, that could have been like you're talking about. Spend time in Vancouver and build your craft and kind of move up in the ranks there, versus just going down to LA or New York and you're new and we call it in baseball a small pond in a big, you know, you're a big fish
Yeah.
in a big pond in a small pond, but now you go to LA and New York, you're really a small fish. You're a meadow like to a bunch of other people,
No
and now
kidding.
you're fighting for those auditions.
Oh yeah.
I got to tell you, I don't know what happened. To be honest, all I know is I'm a hard worker. I went to class after graduation, undergrad and graduate. I got with Larry Moss, who's one of the best teachers on the planet.
One of the best.
You know, and I just kept studying and I kept promoting and I kept trying to get, and I did a ton of theater. You know, it's endless. You have to keep going. And, you know,
You
what
had
you're
courage.
talking, yeah, I mean,
You had courage. Like most people, and
Yeah.
I'm going to say this: only 20 to 30% of people actually make it in the world that they
Mhm.
want to. The rest, they just want to be handed to them, and they just want to kind of like go and do what they want to do. Not everybody becomes like, you're not going to be a Tom Cruise or like that, but you've got a craft that you're making. You're a support role, from what I understand, and that's a big deal, because there's a lot of plays in that arena. Not everybody can do that. So you have a mixed genre of things you're doing. That's awesome. But people think they just are going to expect to go down the alley and then just get, they're going to be discovered on Hollywood Boulevard or whatever, and that's it. No, what you had to do was took courage. You had to move out there, knock on doors, network. You needed to figure things out. I mean, it probably took you to figure things out, who you trust, don't trust, because you're by yourself. You're trying to figure out weird things. When people take that next step where they say, I'm leaving home and I'm going to move across the country, that takes fucking courage. I don't care who you are. That takes a lot of courage to do that.
That's love. Thank you. I mean, that's lovely to hear. And inside my skin, I feel like I was out of my mind and cockeyed optimism. But yeah, I will acquiesce. I will say, sure, it absolutely took a bunch of courage. There might have been a part of me that was like, I doubt it's going to happen, but let's see. I mean, because I was, we can't get into it now because we're running out of time, but there was also this whole, I was short and chubby. What am I doing in the 90s thinking I'm going to be on TV? You know what I mean? And everybody was like this. Yeah. So, and, everything's evolved or whatever. But there was a calling. There was a calling. And I just, maybe the courage came from the need and the desire and the love of it. And the idea that you never know.
Yeah. That's passion.
Well,
we'll just add one more thing about moving out there. I have a son who moved to Vancouver by himself. He crossed Canada and all that. And I told him that was courage.
Yeah.
And the difference between he and I moved out here by myself. I have no support group. And you did the same thing. You go to LA, you have no support group.
None.
So whatever happens, you're on your own, more or less.
Yeah.
He moved to Vancouver. At least he has a support group with family. And that's the difference. When people do that, like I said, it's courage, it's following your passion, it's
determination,
and it's kind of like burning the bridges and saying, I'm doing this no matter what. And if I fail, I fail. If I'm successful, then I'm successful. But you're not really going to fail because you're learning as you're failing. That's number one.
And she did the work. Exactly. When I was producing in Vancouver with the television company that I had with my partner, we would have graduates straight out of Vancouver Film School who maybe their degree was in producing or writing or directing, and they would come to us ready to direct and produce and write. And what have you written? What have you produced? What have you directed? That's been, that is tangible. Nothing except the final project to get their degree. And I said, you can't come here to a production company who's producing television series and then say, well, I want to direct your episodes. Like, you've never directed it. I want to write your episodes. You've never, they're skipping so many steps. I mean, I remember working when I first went to LA and I wanted to start doing film. That's another reason why I started working in casting, is because it was
smart, because you learn.
Well, I learned so much, but it was also a great paycheck while I was trying to get acting jobs. And I remember 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, standing in shivering, knee deep in mud, doing a very, very, very tiny role. But I was willing to do that because I wanted to learn and I wanted to work. And I was okay in the middle of the night, standing in mud, waiting to say one thing, But, I think there are a lot of people that do work hard for what they want now. But as I mentioned before, there are so many more people than when we came up.
Right.
So many more people interested in being in the business and also producing their own stuff, whether it's, YouTube or whatever. And they have that kind of experience, but do they have practical, real on set, on stage, in productions experience?
And will they stay? That's the thing too. Will they stay? Will they stay? I don't know. Flash in the pan. was one thing. So
Yes, exactly. Well, if you were to say one thing or a couple of things for a takeaway for our viewers in the bloom where you're planted ideology, what would you say?
keep doing the work, keep doing your art, keep producing, always be producing. ABP came from a dear friend who has passed. She passed,
Oh,
and it's a whole other story, too young. But her credo was always be producing. I don't care if you're deciding to change the color of your room or gardening. If you are an artist, fine arts, performance arts, music, whatever, acting, you name it, if that is who you are, always be producing and
writer.
writing. Exactly. Totally. Oh my God. Dancing, everything. You have so much to give and put into the world. And if you want to do it as a career or as creating something for, people, look, we got to move this planet forward, man. There's so much going on right now. And art is art. Every step, every way of art is the way to do it. Always be producing. And if you're doing it in order to be recognized or famous or, to make a splash, I don't know about that intention. But if you're coming
No.
from your heart and soul and you want to put good into the world, and sure, put butts in seats and sell your tickets. Yes, that's all valid.
And make a paycheck. Yeah.
Right. That's I want to, that of course, but always be producing. And I will quote Karen Volpe with that quote. But it's amazing what can come of it. You just don't
And
know.
if it doesn't go perfectly the first 10 times, I mean, how many times did we audition for whatever, commercials or whatever, and didn't get it, and then when you put yourself in a bigger market, whether you're a writer, whether you're in any of the arts, in sciences, in business, and putting yourself in a bigger market, then you have more competition, or you write something and you get reject after reject after reject after
Oh my
no,
God.
thank you.
Yeah,
You know
writers.
what? Keep going, keep working on it. And it's not, I don't know anybody who the first time in yoga tried to do a handstand,
Right.
just popped right up there. I don't know anybody who, so it's the same thing with whether you're a writer or a performer or a visual artist, or you want to work in a bank, you want to work for some huge bank.
Oh yeah. I absolutely, let's not limit it to the arts, but always be producing and growing and doing what you love and putting it out into the world. You'd be amazed at the tendrils and what comes back to you out of the blue.
Yep.
Hey, we'd like you to do XYZ,
Exactly.
One step at
Well,
a
that
time.
sounds perfect,
So
doesn't it?
how do people get a hold of you, and what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Where can we find you?
So josiedivincenzo.com is the website, and you can email me through there.
Okay.
Yeah. Or
And
Josie at josiedivincenzo.com.
And we can talk for hours.
I know you guys are great.
Yeah.
Because I had more questions too, but we can hold off onto that. But we really say thank you very much. So what's your next project? What do you plan on doing next? What's going on?
Oh, she's so busy.
I'm sorry.
Well, no.
Like, where can people see you? What
The way my life has gone, I don't know.
Okay.
I've got personal things going on, all good. But
Yeah.
we moved my mom. We're selling the house. We're painting. We're doing this. I'm moving, all that good stuff.
It's huge.
But right now, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm looking to be a resident artist, teaching artist at Shays Buffalo, which is a huge, beautiful performance venue in Buffalo. So there's that. And who knows, man? The auditions are there, and we're just gonna keep going.
And your
forward.
Paintings, are they online?
Well, no. Here's the thing, real quick. I'm actually a scenic artist, so I do painting for theater and film.
Gotcha.
So I don't. Yeah, I do drawings, but I don't, like my brother's an amazing artist. He does the canvases.
Yeah. All right. Well,
she's an incredible artist too.
Well, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate you coming on. It was a pleasure. And I'm sure that there was a lot of wealth of information, especially in the arts and theaters and things like that. You're more than welcome to come back if you want to, and if you have a project and things like that. So just please let us know.
Well, this was a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for letting me indulge and talk about me.
Yeah, we were getting into coins earlier on,
I
but
know.
we'll not get into that because that goes.
Old coins.
I might have let go of them too soon. I'm sorry. Oh.
It's okay.
If I find any more, I'm coming to you. I promise.
Yes, you are. In the meantime, we want to thank everybody coming on here. We appreciate it.
Yes.
We're going to have this show up on here in a couple hours. So if you didn't catch the first part of it, you'll catch the whole thing later tonight. Kaz, anything else to the audience or anything like that?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This was so fun.
And therefore I am
wait.
Kaz. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
There you go. Woo. See ya.